Hey, Choose Life Nation. This is Dallas Cohen, the Rebound Coach, and you are watching or listening to another episode of the Rebound Coach Live. I am so glad that you're here with me today. There are so many places to spend your time, your digital dollar, your eyes, and I just have so much gratefulness that you are spending a little bit of your time over here. Again, I'm Dallas Cohen, the Rebound Coach from thereboundcoach.com. And if it's your first time here, if you've never been to a Rebound Coach Live, welcome, welcome. We call ourselves Choose Life Nation over here. And that's because we choose life. And what might that mean? Just a tiny bit about myself. I am a life coach. That's what a rebound coach is. I'm a life coach. I help people get unstuck. In particular, I serve high achieving women of faith who've been through betrayal or trauma or abuse and want to reclaim territory in their relationship with themselves. So that all happened from my own story. And I'll be really brief because today I want to get to it really briefly. Here's the headline, y'all. I was married 10 years to a man who wanted me dead. And that doesn't make a whole lot of sense for someone with my background who had a good Christian upbringing, right? With married parents that were married for a lifetime. At the same time, I was molested from the time I was 8 to 16. And that radically affects how you see yourself, how you relate to God in a household of faith, and how you relate to men. So fast forward when I met the man that I married and eventually divorced, there were definitely red flags. As a praying woman, I believed God's answer was yes. And because of that, whatever came, we would outlast it and overcome it, or God would swoop in and save the day. And all I had to do was pray and do my part. And so I endeavored to do that. We got into a cycle of what I call coping and crisis. So where you're never okay. You're just like coping and you're walking on eggshells and hoping things don't blow up. And no matter what you do, something does blow up. And we got into this, crisis, and then you stabilize from crisis and get back to coping. That was the dance for over 9 years, almost 10. Everything hit the fan. End of 2019, beginning of 2020, he left for this other woman. And this time he had, been with other women, but this time he left. And I found out that next day he had been plotting my murder with that other woman for months by the time I found out about it. Needless to say, that is the record scratch moment in anyone's life and anyone's story. You're wondering, oh my gosh, how did this happen? How did I end up here? And I had, of course, some really important decisions to make, and some really important big questions. And the way that I kind of concluded quickly, as quickly as I possibly can, I could allow the identity that my ex-husband had planned for me, and quite frankly, the one I agreed to, tell me who I was, tell me how I was allowed to express myself as a wife, a mom, as a woman of God, as a life coach. I was coaching even then. I could let him prescribe who I was, or I could choose life. And so, making a long story really, really short, through a series of divine events, not only am I alive, thank God, my children are with me, we're growing, we're learning, continuing to grow and unlearn and relearn and restart and all the re's. But I chose life. And so I wrote a book out of that entire experience called I Choose Life. And I realize this is backwards on the screen for you. But the name of the book is I Choose Life, Rewrite Your Love Story and Change Your Legacy. I'm looking over here to see if I can put stuff on your screen, but maybe not. So what I will say is you can find this information, how to get this book, at thereboundcoach.com/book. That is thereboundcoach.com/book. You can get one of these physical copies, which I'm actually running out of. You can get one of these copies and I will write you a love note and send it in the mail to you. Or you can get an ebook copy. You can get a physical copy from Amazon. All of those options are available at thereboundcoach.com/book. Okay. This has been a lifesaver for a lot of people. Not only their physical lives, but their emotional and spiritual lives. If anything in the story I just sped through relates to you or someone you care about, you need to get a copy of this book. Again, it's called I Choose Life, Rewrite Your Love Story and Change Your Legacy. You can find that at thereboundcoach.com/book. Okay. Last week, if you were here last week, even if you watched the replay, I would love to know in the comments. I would love to know your name in the comments and that you're here. Please let me know that you're here. I would greatly appreciate it. It's good to know who I'm getting to share space with and share time with. And I told you I'd be brief, and I will. So if you were here last week, I talked about exhaustion. I talked about heart hurt. I talked about just this feeling of being so tired, and not just, hey, I stayed up too late, I'm tired the next day, kind of tired, but the tired that never goes away. And maybe that's not everyone's experience, but it certainly was mine. The exhaustion that no matter how much you sleep, you're never rested. You might sleep at night and just not be rested. Like your brain is constantly going. There's noise in your spirit, right? It's different when there's noise in the atmosphere, and sometimes you get comfortable and you got to play the radio, you play the TV, you have noise, because some people are just comfortable in that level. And I understand that too. But even when you turn off all the devices and there's just chatter in your mind and in your spirit. I don't know if anyone experiences that. If you experience that, if that's something that you've experienced before, put that in the comments. Just put yeah, I understand. It's been a little noisy for me too. Just that constant running, and never having a place to land and never having that peace. So if you've been in that place, and maybe, alongside of that comes some discouragement, and it just comes some struggle, and you're like, how do I do this? And why do I keep trying? I mentioned that I serve women who've experienced betrayal or trauma or abuse that can start, and often does start, in childhood, but I don't serve children in that way. I serve adults. And so we've tried a good long time. So we're talking about, why would I try again? Why should I try again? Why should I continue when maybe everything I'm doing is just not moving the needle? You might feel like I'm just not getting forward. I'm doing a lot of motion. I spoke with someone today, like, I put so much effort into this and I feel like I'm behind. In every which way. And I understand that feeling. Just feeling like, man, I've worked so hard. Why am I still here? Or I did what they told me to do, whoever they are. I did what they told me to do, and yet it's still not working out. The promise didn't happen. Okay. So I understand that. And you might be there right now. And I know it's January, and I know it's a new year, and I know this is a time where people have the most energy and the most motivation for stuff. But I'm just going to go out on a limb and say, maybe some of us might be having trouble and might say, why should I try this again? Especially for resolutions that maybe you've done before. Maybe you've had a weight loss goal before. Maybe you had a heart health, and I don't mean physical heart, your emotional heart. Maybe you've had that goal before. Maybe you've been trying to feel better by moving things around you. Like, well, if I physically move, I'm going to feel better. If I change my job, I'm going to feel better. If I get a job, if I get a different job, if I have kids, if I get married, if I become a couple, if I become a single, right? Like, we move and manipulate our circumstance, our living circumstances, trying to get to satisfaction or peace or prosperity or happiness or joy, right? Those are not the path to that emotional state. The emotional state, or I would say the circumstances, are a byproduct, right? The joyful relationship is a byproduct of choosing joy. Now that sounds backwards, but stay with me. Okay. So maybe, and I heard someone say also recently, I've been on this healing journey for so long, And it seems like every time I step back out there, and this person was speaking of dating after an abusive marriage. So every time I step back out there to dating land, something else comes up and I feel like, man, I am not ready. I'm not ready. How do I know that I'm ready? And it really, that question really speaks to, why should I try again? Why should I try again? This is going to be hard. This is harder. Why should I keep going? Why can't I just give up? Or should I just give up? Right. And what I said to her and what I'll say to you is, your journey, your healing journey, whatever work that you've been doing, right, to become whole, to grow, to unlearn, to relearn all the stuff, all of that work has gotten you to where you are now. And you might be like, well, dang, I'm not much further, and I didn't get this, and I'm not there, and I don't have this, and I don't have that, and I haven't done this. Pause. Look back to where you were and understand you're not where you were. So you might not be where you hope you will be one day, but you're definitely not where you were. You really are light years beyond where you were. And that's worthy of your celebration. It's worthy of your acknowledgement, because when you do acknowledge that, then the next step you take is an empowered step, instead of like, oh, I keep working and nothing's happening. Something is happening. It is up to you to acknowledge what has already happened, and then you make an empowered choice for what's going to happen ahead. So, will this ever be worth it? Nothing's working. Will this ever be worth it? So I'm only going to give you three. Okay, I'm only going to give you 3 reasons why you should keep trying. Okay, are you ready? If you're a note taker, this is number 1. Why should I keep trying? Because you haven't reached there, in air quotes, yet. Well, that doesn't seem like it's a good enough reason. It is, though. How do you know that you won't fail? You don't stop trying. That's how you guarantee. It's how you guarantee that you will not fail at a thing. You just don't stop until you reach where it is you're trying to go. Now, if you might say, I don't know how do I know that I've reached where I'm going? Well, that's a different conversation. That means you haven't defined the things you need to define well enough to get you where you're trying to go. Okay. So that's a coaching conversation. It's a different conversation on, let's define your destination. But if you've defined it, or you might need clarity, you might have done some and you're just like, I just need to sharpen it up a little bit. But until you get there, that's enough. That's number 1 reason why you should keep trying. Okay. And you might be like, well, dang, this is hard. And every time I want to step out and do this again, I remember what happened the last time. Right? Our brains love to remind us of what happened last time as a reason to sit down and be quiet and not try again. But think about how babies, when they're learning to walk, they might sit up a little bit first and they scoot on their little booties and they cruise. Cruising is where the babies like lean on stuff and like lean on furniture and chairs and other things and toys to kind of mobilize themselves through the house. And then they're crawling, right? And then they take that step, 1 wobble step, 2 wobble steps, boom, they fall back on the floor, right? As a parent, I'm a parent, or even if you're not a parent, if you've seen babies do this, did anyone ever go up to that child and say, looks like you're not a walker. You're going to have to give up now, right? One of my mentors describes it that way. No, we would never look at a child who's learning to walk and say, I guess you can't do it. It's not for you. You should give up now. You're just going to be a crawler and a cruiser for the rest of your days. No, we wouldn't do that. Why? Because that child is in the process. And as long as they keep trying, they generally make it. Right? They become quite a walker, and then we got to keep up with them, right? And it's the same for us. It's the same for us. The only reason why we would give up based on past failures is our own decision to do that. Our own decision to give up based on past failures. But we don't have to. right? We can decide, you know what, it's just like a baby that's crawling and learning to walk. I just have to keep hacking at it, and eventually I will get there. I will learn from my mistakes. I will grow from the failures. I will listen to the feedback and make the adjustments. And you wouldn't tell a baby to beat themselves up either. You know, how dare you mess up? It's so easy. What's wrong with you? Why can't you walk? You wouldn't say that to the child. You say, come on, you could do it. You could do it. Try again. Come on, come on. I got you. Come on. I'm watching. Yay. That's what you would do. Why? Because they will thrive with the encouragement, and they will try again with the encouragement. And you know that all it takes is continual motion, and they will eventually get there. And the same for you, and the same for me. I am listening to this message and receiving it just as you are. All we have to do is keep going. If you wobble, if you fall, you haven't failed. You're just in the process. Keep going. Wipe yourself off, dust yourself off, get up, and keep going. Reason number 2, okay? You miss, and this is another thing from my mentors, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. And you might be like, well, dang, I remember all the shots I did take and missed. Yeah, but that's a percentage. Some of those you didn't miss, right? You might have missed more than you didn't, but some you didn't miss. I can tell you what, though, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. And you might say, well, you know what? It's easier to not take a shot. It's easier to just let this thing fail. It's easier to just let this thing flop. And that is your decision. And that is your decision. But if the ache is in you, because there's something in your belly, there's something in your heart, there's something in your soul that says, I have to do this, that this is the destiny for me. And I don't know how, and I don't know how long, I don't know how many tries it's going to take, but I have to get there. Then let's keep taking shots and keep increasing our odds and keep building your skill and keep going, because the best is yet to come. So that's number 2. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. And reason number 3, why should I keep going? Why should I try again? Okay. And I'll tell you this, even if you don't get what you came for. So a lot of us be like, well, dang, I might try this 100 times and just might not get it, right? Even if you don't get what you came for, you will become better than you were before. That's a guarantee. You grow skill. If you've ever heard, you leave better than you came. If you ever heard the parable, the phrase of the man who's pushing up against the wall, trying to break the wall down. It's a brick wall. And they push and they push and they push. And they say, well, this wall is not budging. It doesn't matter how hard I push, right? But the person they speak to says, well, look at your arms. And your arm, the man's arms are developed because of all of that work. So even if, worst case scenario, you do not get what you came for, you definitely leave better than you came. You leave better than you came. And y'all, I am always talking about how we don't have to do life alone. We don't have to live through struggle alone. We may have to live through struggle. We may have to overcome some challenges, but we don't have to do it alone. And I have the honor of hosting my 3rd A Day of Healing. If you are in the Tampa Bay area, mark your calendars, save your seats, register today, all the things. Take action now for a day of healing. It's a day to invest in you. It's a day to invest in you and let someone love you and help you and serve you. It's going to be phenomenal. I want to share a very, very, very short video with you about a day of healing, and I will be right back. Let's see if I can do this. Yes. So come to a day of healing. I'm really excited about this year. It's our third year and we are themed on Love Fest. Come get your love in motion. Here's what I know. And and a lot of us know this, but may not say it. Underneath a lot of our struggles, ladies and gentlemen, is a desire for love, is a desire for connection, a desire for intimacy. And I don't mean sexual intimacy, I mean being seen and heard and known and loved and appreciated and cherished. It is a human desire, a human need that we all have. And I don't think that we can ever get enough. And I don't think it's a shame or a shot to anyone's relationship of any kind. I just think as human beings, we are just created for love and for intimacy and for connection and for community. And we're going to pour it out in spades. February 8th, that is Saturday, February 8th, 2025. We start at 10 in the morning. We go from 10 to 3. It's a beautiful day out in Odessa, Florida. You can find more information at ADOH Love Fest. That is ADOH for a day of healing. Love Fest. .eventbrite.com. It's where you can get all that information. If you're just not sure and be like, hey, that was fast, you didn't type it in any comments, just put in the comments for me, Love Fest. I will make sure I get the link to you. Just put in the comments, Love Fest. I'm really excited and would love to spend the day with you. Again, that is Saturday, February 8th. And if you have any questions, reach out to me on all of the social medias that you are experiencing this video on. And I will tell you this too, head over to my YouTube if you're not watching on YouTube, and that's youtube.com/Dallas Cohen or The Rebound Coach. If you search The Rebound Coach, you'll definitely find me. Please do like and subscribe. And even if you're over here on Facebook, or wherever you are hearing this message or watching this episode, if you could like and share and subscribe and comment, all the things, I would really love to get to know you, get to know where it is you are coming from and how I could come alongside and serve. So thank you so much again for spending time with me. It has been a pleasure. And until next time, choose life.